Yo, what's up? This is Brick City's finest, JD and Dave. This is a little no country, BTS behind the scenes side addendum. We just finished talking about the Black Thought Danger Mouse album, Cheat Codes. It was something that my brother Dave said earlier that I wanted to touch on, but I just didn't want it to get wrapped up in what we was talking about while we was doing the album. And it was a thing where he was saying how us black men we stigmatize ourselves a lot of times. And I just wanted to hear him expound on that, especially he got three boys, three black men that he raising, and just it was just something that really hit me hard because where I think the base of it was coming from because him and I dealt with a lot of times where it's like, all right, you ain't supposed to be as smart as you are. Don't use all your language. Don't, talk this way. Don't dress this way. Don't do that. Even if you understand that, luckily I had friends and I didn't let myself be held down with my friends and be like, yo, I don't even know what that word means. Just tell me, shut up. And I was also with myself that I was comfortable enough to be like, well, if you don't know, I ain't gonna be scared that you don't know. So, but I do know what you mean, or I feel like I know what you mean when you said we do stigmatize ourselves. But like I said, especially with you raising three black men, um, being a married man for 20 years, just I just wanted to hear you expound on that a little bit.
I don't remember even the point where I said that, but what I meant, we stigmatize ourselves. I think not just black men, but I mean us in modern culture in general, but in particular, black men stigmatize themselves because a lot of our opinions of who we are based upon the outer gaze. A lot of us, man. So I bring this up often. There's this episode of Bill Maher show. I don't remember what the real name of it is, like Real Time Bill Maher, whatever.
Right.
And Wendell Pierce was on there, right? And they were talking about Chicago, and it was a bunch of white folks on the panel, politicians, Bill Maher, and they went into the Chicago shootings and like, well, why aren't people are doing more about Chicago? La 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 la. And Wendell, like, I mean, he let the chopper sing on niggas and was like, yo, we only do that and move like that because we learned that shit from y'all. We learned that shit. We picked up, the nuances and the way that the ideology that y'all adopt. We got that shit from y'all. And where I say that we as a culture stigmatize ourselves is we adopt those mentalities that have been brought from other cultures about us, and we accept that as who we are. So like you'll hear black men talk about, you're not supposed to, I'm real, I'm this, I'm that, downplaying their intellect, uh, overplaying the macho shit, um,
Saying
adopting
words
some.
wrong on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Like and to me, knowing what I know, my mom was an African American scholar, studies major in college and shit like that. I read Roots before I was fucking 7 years old. And you think about the
I
the the
watched it
the
by the time I was 7.
you know what I'm saying? Like when you think about the shit that has been indoctrinated in us, and then you listen to the way we kind of opine and think about things in the modern space, we accept those stigmas a lot of times, and we try to. It's like the word nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like Q-Tip said, we took in sucker nigga, we took the word
Made it
and
a term of
adapted it
endearment.
for our own whatever, and we do that in positive and negative ways. So it's like when you talk about something like Black Thought or even just an album in that space, we put ourselves in this position where we like, I ain't trying to hear all that shit. You know, I'm, I'm a real nigga. I want to hear some street shit. I want to hear some shit that speaks to me. But you know, the stigma don't allow you to understand that this intellectual shit is for you. Like when you look into African studies and history and shit like that, they culture was about knowledge and intellect and innovation, and us, especially the more popular culture, drivers and movers and shakers as African Americans. What I mean is when we stigmatize ourselves, we look at ourselves through this lens that other people see us through, and we adopt ourselves to that
Well, like
instead of our
just
true nature.
yeah, well, sometimes I joke about it and I say it all the time. And I kinda got this from something that you said to me real funny one day on the bus when we was in the high school, but it's a derivative of that. And what I say is that especially us black Americans, we the whitest black people on the planet because we right next to them. So
Yeah,
even if we don't have what they have, we see what they don't have, and then we see exactly what they don't have. All the dopest stuff, we see it. And we like, damn, really? Like, so it's some people that don't even see it, you know?
yeah,
And so
100%.
we aspire, or like you said, we'll put that lens or that focus on, okay, I'm going to compare myself to this and do this. And actually because I had to watch so many movies this week,
Mm,
and a couple of them I watched were lower budget, some of them I watched were black produced. It was a couple
right,
of things where I was looking at and I was like, you know what, we always talking about like black people, we don't make movies on this type of level and that type of
right.
level. I'm like, all right, but what if that's just the way we make fucking movies? Like,
Yeah,
what if it is like, and I understand like people might be used to this or used to that, or it's the quality, or this is the way it's written. But what if this is just the way we present it? You know what I'm saying? Why do our shit gotta be like they shit? And that goes for everything. I don't care if it's hair. I don't care if it's the way we dress. I don't care if it's the music we listen to, whatever. It's just like this whole big. I think it's a you know a macrocosm where
yeah,
it's just like we just like in this position where, like you said, like we keep comparing ourselves, and then when it really touched me when you said, yeah, we do put this stigma on ourselves where I gotta look like this, I gotta look like that. Like when we from the Northeast, and it'd be
yeah,
like we ain't seen how many times we done seen dudes spend $800 on their clothes and can't get into the club that they spent the money to go into the club on. And then some white boy come with some Salvation Army raggedy stuff right behind him and just walk right in. And it's like, oh, and
it's
but this is the thing. He put himself in that, the black dude stigmatized himself because he put himself in that position to even
yeah,
think he had to
yeah.
even present himself in that way. And why do you even want to be there if you got to do all that just to get in?
Because status is based on what we've been conditioned to think it was instead of what we should have grown up with, which was the respect for the lineage that we come from, and and the reverence for the strides we made before whatever this Americanized shit is. We don't have that. We disconnected from that. I mean, I bring it back to shit all the time, and I don't try to be super militant, but the more you learn about the history of this country, the more you realize like how fucked off we are and how badly the effects of the shit they did to us during slavery, it still affects us, bro. And the stigma, the shit that we do, the shit that we on now, the shit we talking about right now, you can only hold us so accountable because a lot of it was a survival skill. A lot of it, when you come to the ignorance and motherfuckers be like, the Chris Rock joke, you want to hide information from niggas put in the book. That shit stems from when we was fucking slaves, and if you knew how to read, they'd kill you. You know what I'm saying? That shit came from motherfuckers hiding that intellect because they knew that if you exposed the plans of somebody like Harriet Tubman, you was gonna fuck up the whole
All the
freedom
Eddie
movement.
Griffith jokes.
Right, right. You know what I'm saying? And and
All
and,
the
and,
Eddie Griffith
and
jokes.
that shit trickles down, and we keep perpetuating it because for every you and me, there's 10 other motherfuckers who resist that shit because it don't look cool to the niggas that they like. You and I both grew up on that. Oh well, niggas was like, oh, you talk white, you different, you this, that, and the third, because we used to read fucking books and all this other shit. And I've seen these tiffs back and forth between black folks online over the years where they like, yo, that shit ain't happened. That was only y'all where you lived. I'm like, man, I could grab 5 motherfuckers that I know in my phone right now and they all had the same experience. So when I talk about us stigmatizing ourselves, it's really stemming from the shit that was beaten to us that we learned for survival way back, but we carry that shit even to modern day. Because when you see motherfuckers that are examples of the way you can succeed and push forward and not be the stereotypical ignorant, but also maintain your blackness, it's hard for some motherfuckers to accept that shit because they already been conditioned to feel like, all right, well, I gotta present like this. Like so many cats in the rap game feel like they gotta come in on some gangster shit to the point where now you don't even hear these niggas till they dead already.
Well, I think what happened. Well, I agree with you on that, but
You know what I'm saying? Like,
what I think it is they saying they coming and telling their story or their life.
mhm.
But this is the only angle
Right,
they
right,
can approach it from.
right. And that's beaten to our heads because we've been our aspirations of being astronauts and doctors and lawyers and all this other shit get slapped down by what the society we grew up in really truly is. So a lot of us are like, yo, well, fuck it. If I can't make it over here, then I can make it over here. Shit, that's why I'm a rapper, nigga. That's why you an actor. Because in our head somewhere, you know what I'm saying? In our head somewhere, we was conditioned to think like, damn, trying to go the regular route don't work for us because that shit ain't here for us. They don't do
Oh,
that
we
for us.
we
They
we
don't give us
figured
that.
that out early, and then like this,
Right,
like look, even if I on the same path that you're going on, but I'm gonna just take it back one step to where you're like, yo, if you're gonna open, if the lanes were really open for everybody, we would have tried the lanes. You know
right,
what I'm saying? Like
right,
we can't,
right.
we couldn't have all did tennis because tennis costs money. You know what I'm saying? We did what we could do, and so that and a lot of that fell into 70% of that probably fell into the drug lane, or whether you
Yeah,
just know somebody that knew somebody that had something to do with that. You know what I'm saying? So it was a trickle thing, and then to bring that back to the point of a overarching thing of the stigma of the just the appearance and
mm-hmm,
the way we take it, it's
mm-hmm.
like a part of us, and I think this way you was feeling too, is like a part of us, because that's something we gotta wear it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We gotta wear it a certain way, or be sad about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Well,
yo,
I mean,
either I'm gonna be a gangster and be sad about it, or I'm gonna be gangster and be proud about it.
right. I mean, look, I've had to explain this shit to white folks on the other side, living where I live for so long. They'll come and be like, well, how come black guys do this, or how come black people do that? And I'm like, first off, you don't even have the wherewithal to ask that question because if you knew what this country was about, you would know that we adopted that shit from having to survive what y'all did to us. Number one, you know what I'm saying, and number two, when you think about all of the shit we talking about, when you talk about stigmatizing and doing it, accepting these kind of roles that we've accepted, a lot of that shit is survival.
Yo, yo,
You know
I
what I'm
want to.
saying? A lot of that shit is like, yo, we didn't choose it. If you talking about gangster niggas or you talking about drug dealing niggas, a lot of these motherfuckers had to go that path because they didn't even have enough education and enough resources to feel like they could do it any other way. You know what
Yo,
I'm saying?
yeah, and check this out. Look, I wrote down the two. It's a spectrum, and we talking about like this whole hinging of America, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got the Native Americans, right? They don't care about no approval no more. They done.
Nah,
They
they
done with
tried to
trying to get
murder
approval,
all them
right?
niggas. Who,
They
who gives a
done. They
fuck?
done with trying to get approval. It's like, yo, we
Yeah,
just got we got. We gonna do what we do. Boom, right? Cool. And then I saw this thing earlier with Tom Hanks.
right.
He was talking about how
I know what
Nobody
you're talking
told him about the Black Wall Street thing, right?
about.
And
Yeah,
he like, and
yeah.
he in this video, I don't know how old that video was, but he looked
It's super
pretty
recent.
current.
It's super
And he
recent.
said he only heard
Yeah.
about it 2 years prior to that video. And I'm like, bro, you Tom Hanks. How you ain't know about Black Wall Street, bro? You done met so many different type of people in the world. You done had to
Son,
do it, but then
son,
his take on it was like, damn, like I felt angry because he felt stupid. You know, he like, yo, like I knew about. He was naming stuff that I never even heard of. He was like, I knew about this disaster, that disaster, this disaster. I never heard about that. Like, and I'm like, why? I don't even. And you know, I,
part of the point I'm coming from is related to that specifically.
and so from the
Because
Indians, my point to just to tie
yeah,
that up together real quick was my point was from the Native Americans to a white person like Tom Hanks, who would be considered an elite white person.
right.
Everybody is messed up all the way in
Yeah.
between. And we take it, they both got the space to be angry. We objectify and subjectify ourselves all the time, be like, damn, I need clean sneakers. I need to be looking this way. I need that. I need this instead of because that's where
Son,
we
that's
at.
the result. That's the result of all of that shit. That's the result of of you don't get to a conversation like Tom Hanks had without the subjugation of an entire race. Without, I mean, to this day, these niggas is banning books, bro. And while I lived in Texas, the last decade I lived in Texas,
I
we
came
was
up with a
going to
good joke
vote.
for book banning. I got a good book banning joke.
We was going to vote and put word out on the street that they was trying to rename slavery to the transatlantic labor exchange and trying to downplay that shit. So it's like,
You know the new
wow.
shit. You remember the new one they tried to say?
Mm,
They gonna say the
mm.
new one. Relocated something
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
uh forcefully
Son,
relocated or some craziness they
son,
want
we
to
had
name
to fucking
dumb shit.
literally go and make like petitions and vote on that shit in our town where we lived because they were trying to change this shit in our kids' school books while they were in school. So they were literally trying to phase out the understanding of how horrific chattel slavery was right in front of us. And these are people who are we're not talking about motherfuckers 50 years ago. We talking about in the 2010s, in the 2020s.
So
So,
yeah, it goes right back into our self-image
yes,
as we all absorb that
100%.
like at the time. I mean, guys, men, especially young men, but just men is having problems with not only, their finances and their family, they having problems with their women, they having problems with their employment, they having
Listen,
emotional, mental problems. It's so much going on. And like I
listen.
said, like I'm only a black man. So
We
that's what
come
I'm
we
talking about in
look
general. I mean, specifically,
specifically as
but
black men,
in
specifically
general,
as
I think
black
men go through
people,
this all over. So, but
specifically, but
specifically
hold up,
us.
specifically as black men, we the only motherfuckers, African American men specifically, we are the only motherfuckers who grew up in a place that wanted us dead. At least our generation, probably the generation before us. When people talk about how slavery ended and how it rolled into what modern times are, they really, 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 really kind of like must under and like negate the effects of that shit. Like they made no attempt to rehabilitate. They made no attempt to to make reparations. They made no attempt to to make us whole. The only thing we had was the
They try to
scraps they had
bury.
to
They
give
trying to
us. Yeah,
bury that shit.
the only thing we had was the scraps they had to give us because they couldn't do the Holocaust on us. Mind you, never forget the Nazis learned a lot of that shit they did in that era from America, B. And we are the remnants of a country that didn't want us after they had their way with us and couldn't get rid of us because of human rights shit. So we just adopted what we could and made the best of that shit and had
Sit
this
here and
bastardized.
get made
Yeah,
fun of by the motherfuckers that did it, and then feel bad like we did something wrong because the motherfucker put you in the motherfucking
we have this
situation. Now
bastardized
you feel
sense of
bad.
self. We like
So
abused kids, bro. Straight
so
up.
now without being a victim, because I don't want to get into no
Ain't no
victimization,
victim shit. It's
because
just what it
we got
is.
good lives. You know what I'm saying? We seeing good things. However, we just saying like that, like you said, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, because it touched me in a way where I was thinking about it. Where is this thing? Like I said, that us Black American men, we definitely, and we know we grew up with it. There's this stigma on being your full self,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to just kind of just put
It's
that out there.
it's a lot of fear. It's a lot of fear in black men specifically being their full selves. It's an act of bravery as a black man, whether you straight, whether you gay, whether you whatever, whether you raising kids, whether you don't have kids. It's a fear that all of us have had to navigate about being our full selves, because that shit can get you killed, or that shit can dampen the potential of where you could go in life. So that stigma comes from that self-stigmatizing, comes from the shit that we had to learn as grown, you know what I'm saying? Don't talk to cops a certain way. Keep your head down. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times me and my wife talk about,
Go into somewhere dressed a certain way,
bro,
like just that shit. That used to be our shit. Like we gotta wear this, and
bro,
we were
on
like,
some regular shit. You brought up the fact that we raised black men, right?
right.
We lived in this place where we raised them at the same time they were in the proximity of these other cultures. And what we always noticed and what we always got fucked up about was, like, you go to a doctor's office, you go to Walmart, you go to the airport, wherever. Every other culture's kids ran the fuck amok, right? Crazy, bugging out, doing all kinds of shit. Us, if you leave my sight, if I can't touch you,
You too
then
far.
you
Yeah,
in trouble.
yeah,
You too
right. I
far
don't even
away.
want to do that. Something happened.
and,
Yeah.
and the constriction that you think about when you raise your kids like that, you raising your kids, because black people raise their kids in fear.
Why
Don't
do
let
why do why do why do we think people be like, what are the kid? Oh, it's funny when they turn and say, don't touch nothing, don't ask for nothing, don't
right.
look at nothing. But it's not because they necessarily broke. It's because
It's a
it's gonna
survival tactic.
cause so much
It's a
more
survival tactic. You know
trouble.
what I used to do with my kids? Real talk. And it's fucked up. You know what I used to do with my kids? We'd be out somewhere. We see one of these little kids, an Indian kid, a black kid, I mean, a white kid, a Latin kid, whatever, wild and smooth the fuck out. You know what we used to do? Don't fucking do that shit. That ain't you. You're not gonna get
Don't
that
try
same
it.
treatment.
Don't
Don't
try it.
do it. And while in our heads, we're like,
You had to
we're
do the
protecting our
reinforcement.
kids. You know what I'm saying? While in our heads, we protecting our kids. On the other hand, me and Money like, yo, are we hindering them? Because these kids, the white kids that's going around eating fucking drinking paint and maybe considering a school shooting, if he don't get to a bad point in his life where he ends up in prison or some shit like that, this nigga could be the president. Look
But
at
check
fucking
this out.
Donald
This
Trump.
this what happened too. They raising Homer Simpsons. Dudes
Failing
that
upward than a
yo,
motherfucker.
you just keep you live, you just got it because you lived through it.
Yo, let
And
me
the
tell
minute
you,
we tried, what was homeboy that got so pissed at Homer that he was like, "Oh, I'll just electrocute myself. I'm Homer Simpson." No, we can't beat him. We can't be. We can't
yo,
give up on the logic. It's not.
man,
This system is not ours.
the phrase that whooped my ass the most when it really like sunk in that definitively was
Mm-hmm.
failing upwards,
Yes, sir.
because we never had a concept of that. Not
Deb Bush, the
George
whole
Bush,
Bush
nigga.
family.
Like,
We don't talk about
failing
George. That's my
upward,
nigga.
you could be
George,
bad
that's
at
my nigga.
Donald fucking Trump, nigga.
Yeah,
You
we can
could
talk
be
about Donald
bad at
Trump.
everything. You could be
Dub
bad.
is W is my nigga.
You could be bad at fuck W. Oh, you could be bad at
Friend of the
everything.
show.
You could be bad at everything but if you come from a certain demographic, if you come from a certain background, You are going to be all right no matter what. And that shit is some horrific realization when you come to it at the point where we came to it, which is later on in life.
Right.
And so we was always taught, man, keep your head down, don't make too much noise if you don't have to. And if you do, make sure you got a smile on your face
Yo,
and da 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 da. And that's part of the stigmatization of how we
yeah,
do ourselves because we adopt into the things that we were taught to survive and not to thrive. You know what I'm saying? We don't
and
even know what it's like to be so free that we can just do whatever the fuck we
fuck
want
you
and
want
act
to
however.
do, yo, bro, real quick, just to kind of go ahead and wrap it up. I was watching
Yeah.
this little mini documentary on the dude Army Hammer.
Oh, that's out.
No, it was like it was this little mini joint on YouTube that I
I
watched. I
seen the
ain't even watched
trailer.
the
I ain't
long
see the
one,
whole
but
shit.
what the point was that he grew up, nigga grew up like Bruce Wayne, literally
Yeah,
grew up like Bruce
his
Wayne.
his name is Army Hammer.
Yeah,
Arm and Hammer.
grew,
Like,
grew yeah, he grew up like Bruce Wayne, had the whole situation. Girl went to school in the Cayman Islands. You know what I'm saying? Did had a whole separate life. Then decided to act, made his way into acting,
a whole ass.
and then all of this stuff comes out. But like you said, like he got like if y'all want to know what this dude into, go look it up. But it's gross.
House of Hammer. That's about to come out. That's about to be the
Well,
crazy
I ain't even I
documentary.
don't know. Like if you need to see the whole shit, go ahead
I
though.
need to see it.
Yeah.
I'm on my documentary. I'm on
Well,
my true crime
so
documentary shit.
yeah, so yeah, he fucked up. And
You fucked up bad. You fucked. I
bad.
don't even know.
Real bad. I
You
don't even
fucked up
know.
real bad. I don't even know.
So but yeah, so it ended up being like he what a point being that I'm saying that he had this whole life, all of this stuff, all these opportunities, all of these things to do whatever he wanted to do. Now he working at some hotel at that island. Somebody sent a
Or some
picture.
real estate crazy shit.
Yeah, he ain't supposed
Cause
to
you
be
was
doing
out here
that.
biting bitches. What's wrong?
Well, that's
How you got so
part of it.
much?
That's part
How
of
you
it.
got so much that that's your thing? Like that's
We
we
done
can't
heard, we done heard, we done heard worse. We done heard crazier than that.
worse, of
Actually.
course. I'm just saying it's just that's just a microcosm of just the reverse psychology of what this country is.
However, I
We
promise you, no white dude out there right now is looking at himself like Army Hammer. However, we will the
every
take
black
a
man's
persona of everybody. Oh, I must look
everybody.
like Trayvon Martin. I must look like
Yep,
George Floyd right now.
yep,
We
yep.
don't. I thought I looked like Jay-Z, but he gonna get slammed to the ground too. Like it don't matter. It don't matter, and we do have that stigma. I just thought that that was a great talking point you brought up earlier,
Yeah,
and I just wanted
yeah.
to kind of just touch on it a little bit.
It's something
Um,
I always put out there just because, I don't think we look at things like that. I think we look at shit like, we got free autonomy, free will, but you gotta realize niggas did a number on us in this world, bro. And the quicker we realize that and kind of calibrate ourselves to understand that we got a different path and it ain't
agreed,
necessarily the one we've been force fed, then
agreed.
I think we got a better chance. I
Like
really
Black
do.
Thought said, just because they give you shit don't mean you gotta take it.
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
100%.
Yo, one time y'all already know there's no country. We just kind of, just ruminating. JD and Dave, y'all know what it is. We love y'all. Like, subscribe. Catch up to y'all later. Do all of the
Shooting that
YouTube
shit.
things. One to you.
Yo, like and subscribe. But I'm gonna bring these to your whole house.
Man,
You don't
just
want it.
like and subscribe. He will do it.
Do it. Do it. One.